I'm joined now by the chief of police for the city of Chelsea, which right now has the highest coronavirus case rates in the state. Chief Brian Kyes, he's also the president of the state's major city chiefs of police. Welcome, Chief. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Emily.
So it's only been a couple of weeks since Chelsea really, got hit as a hot spot. Did you have any warning? Did you sense at all that this was coming?
Honestly, not at all. I know we're into it now for about 7 weeks, and I still recall, it seems like it was, in some respects, it seems like it was yesterday, in others, it seems like it was like last year. But I remember we had our first case that turned into 3, that turned into 5, and not knowing at the end of the day, were we going to reach 50, 100, and right now we're looking at just over 2,000 positive cases that we know about that have been reported, and sadly, over 100 people have died as well.
Now, how do you track them? Because, let's say there's an incident at one of these homes. Do you know who the 2,000 people are? Not that you would, put it out on any public notice, but do you keep track of that?
We do. We don't know who they are by name. We don't get the names of the individuals that have been infected, but we do get the addresses of where they reside. And what we do is we don't publish a list or anything like that. Certainly there's rights to privacy with HIPAA and other rights to privacy. But what we do is we enter it into our record management system database. So in the event that I or someone else got a call to go to a given address, a hazard flag will pop up on the screen that the dispatchers see, and they'll alert the officers that there's a confirmed isolation, is the terminology that we utilize over the air. So officers know to take additional precautions.
So we did that story about Robert Van Zant, and when he first got on the job, this is weeks ago, he didn't have enough or the right personal protection equipment. How about your officers now? Are they all set?
I think they are. I think we've been lucky. We've had what we call tie-back suits and masks and eye protection and certainly gloves for the longest time. We've been experiencing problems in Chelsea going back a bit with fentanyl, the fentanyl crisis and so forth. So we've been really learning how to protect ourselves, not knowing what we're going to encounter when we go into certain homes. So this was kind of like switching gears in one respect, but in another, it's the same equipment that we've been utilizing.
And how about your officers themselves? Had any of them been infected? Has anybody been hospitalized?
No one's been hospitalized. We've had 3 officers that have tested positive. 2 of them have since returned to duty. The third is due to return soon, hopefully early next week. The symptoms were not too bad. I've been talking with each of them each and every day. Certainly similar to the flu, I guess, in some respects, but not too bad. No one's been hospitalized, but we did have a number of other officers that were sick or had symptoms. And I think all told, I think we had 25 different officers that we had to quarantine for short periods of time, pending the results of their tests.
So it sounds like that worked. That's a pretty low number. How many do you have again on your police force?
We have 111 officers, and I think I hope it worked. I hope that we were very proactive. We've done a number of different things over the past 7 weeks. Certainly a bit of luck, I guess, is factored in as well. As I heard mentioned in your story, that oftentimes you think that his frontline work is that we are encountering the virus when we go out and we go to these different calls, which certainly is true. But then again, we're encountering the virus when we interact with each other sworn officers or civilians. We're interacting with our family members, with people on the street. So you never know who is actually carrying the virus. Many people are asymptomatic. So what we do is we operate under the general principle that everyone is infected. Everyone.
That's right.
And so we practice the physical distancing and keeping ourselves protected and operate on that premise.
Now, you're also president of the big city Massachusetts police chiefs. Have you reached out to colleagues in other major cities, Lawrence, Holyoke, other cities that may not have the kind of organization, it sounds like, that you do?
Every day. So, matter of fact, Holyoke and Lawrence are both members of the major city departments, and every single day, we're tracking data. We're sharing information on who's quarantined, who's positive, how many positive cases in our respective communities, how many people have passed away. Same with best practices. If I come up with something or if a fellow chief comes up with another idea, we're comparing and contrasting what we're doing and sharing those policies, protocols, memos on a daily basis.
So who's collecting the data? Is the state giving it to you or you're giving it to the state?
The state's giving it to us. What happens is the state, the DPH Maven system, will give it to the local Board of Health, and they in turn will turn it over to the local police chiefs. Again, no names, just the addresses, the numbers. But for purposes of what I get from the major cities, I don't get any addresses. I just get their total numbers.
Now, you mentioned that over the years, unfortunately, Chelsea has had an increasing fentanyl opioid abuse crisis. Has crime changed at all? Is crime down as a result of the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly it is. And I know that's the case across the Commonwealth. I believe it's the case across the country. I was reading an article today that it seems like domestic violence is also down in many jurisdictions outside of Mass. I know that here in Chelsea, we were averaging probably one arrest per day as a result of domestic violence. It turned into 1.5, it turned into 2, and now we're about 3 arrests a day. And we really don't want to arrest anybody if we don't have to. We don't want to bring anyone into the building. But there are situations that involve intimate partner violence where we're really left with no choice. So right now, yeah, the numbers are definitely starting to creep up as it pertains to domestic violence.
What about other kinds of crime, though? Violent crime.
I mean, knock on wood, everything else is down. There's a strong or a heavy level of compliance, I think, with our residents, certainly across Chelsea, but I think for the most part across the state as well.
Because you think that it would also be an opportunity, although more people are at home, so break-ins might be more infrequent, but other crime seems like it could be an opportunity.
Well, I mean, that's the concern. The concern is with the economic downfall that, when people start losing their jobs or getting laid off and they have to put food on the plate, that we may see larcenies increase, shoplifting, perhaps robberies. So we're bracing for that, hoping that doesn't occur, but that is certainly possible.
All right, Chief Brian Kyes, keep up the good work. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.